good day and welcome to my channel. My name is Tolu and I'm so glad to have you here. In today's video, I'll be sharing tips on how you as an undergraduate student can best position yourself to apply for postgraduate opportunities after your undergraduate degree and actually get those positions. I hope you find this video helpful. The first tip is to try as much as possible to have very good grades in all your courses during your undergraduate program. Try not to just pass the courses, but also to have very high scores in them, because you're applying for an academic program and the first thing people want to check is how well you have done in your previous academic programs, right? So try as much as possible to make sure that your transcript is an excellent one as much as you can. Now, if you feel like you've already gone quite far in your studies and no matter how hard you try, your grades or your CGPA will still not be that competitive, it's not the end, there's still hope. I know people who did not have very competitive CGPAs but still got fully funded postgraduate positions, so it's not the end of the world. So in essence, what I'm saying is that if you already do not have very good grades, there's still hope. But if you are able to correct it, if you're able to have good grades while you are still in school, if you are still in school and you have years ahead of you, please try your best to, because it helps. My second tip is to try to make sure you have an excellently written bachelor's thesis. This is your first proof of being able to perform somewhat independent research or to do research of any kind. So try to make sure that it is an excellently written one. Try to really understand what it is about, to be able to talk about it and communicate whatever it is you have done well. If possible, before you start, you might want to talk with your supervisor, your bachelor's thesis supervisor, and tell the person that you hope to publish it if possible. That is it possible to get a topic that can be published after you finish writing your thesis, because you would like to publish it. Having publications really helps a lot in your applications. If it's possible, then you can work towards it. If it says no or you're unable to publish it, it's all right. Just still make sure that whatever topic it is that you eventually work on, it is very well written, the research is very well done. Like, make it a very good work, because that's what you can present to people to show that you have actually done research. And many postgraduate programs actually focus on your research apart from the coursework. So your ability to do research is one thing that recruiters or admission boards look out for in applicants. So make sure that you write a very good bachelor's thesis, because it's always very helpful. And if possible, publish it. The third tip is to try to have good relationships with your professors or lecturers while you are in school, and even afterwards, try to maintain communication with them. Try to keep them up to date. Not all of them, but just a select few that maybe you know are very prolific in their research or are very nice. Try to maintain a relationship with them. The first reason is because they might know about opportunities that you don't know, because they have advanced in their career, right? And they get much more information than you probably do. So they might have a friend that knows a friend, or another professor that in some other university that has an opportunity, or they might know about an institute that needs a postgraduate student or whatever. But when you keep good relationships, when you keep good relationships with them, you are more open to knowing about these opportunities. And for example, when I went to ICTP, the person who told me about ICTP for the first time, actually there were two, and both of them were professors at my university. Before then, I never heard about ICTP, but they told me about the opportunity, and they also helped me with writing the recommendation letters. And this is the second reason why I think it's good to have a good relationship with your professors during your undergraduate degrees and even afterwards, because you might need them to help you with recommendation letters, and it's easier to approach professors that you know quite well than professors that you don't communicate with at all. And one way to have a good relationship with your professors is by having good grades. Professors usually like students who do well in their courses, so that's one way to do it. Another way is just to relate with them, let them see that you are interested in pursuing postgraduate opportunities after your bachelor's degree. Talk with them about your plans, etc. Another tip I just thought of right now, which is somewhat related to having a good relationship with your lecturers, is to try to participate in their research, in their ongoing research. Maybe if one of your professors is writing a paper or working on a research project and you don't have so much to do in with schoolwork in that period of time, or maybe you are done with coursework or you're on break, you can try to participate in the person's research. This gives you more research experience, which is always helpful for your applications, and also gives the professor more things to write about you if the person were ever to write a recommendation letter for you. So don't be idle if you are in a season where there isn't a lot of work and you can give your time to research. Try to approach a professor in your university, ask what the person is presently working on and if there's anything you can do to contribute to the research. You might even have your name included in a scientific article, or even if it is not included, it's something you can put in your CV and say that you participated in this research project. Yeah, so that try to participate in ongoing research in your department or faculty. And it doesn't have to be paid. Let it just be something voluntary. It's like you are sowing to reap later. Now the fifth, or is it the fourth? I think it's the fifth now, is to try to look for opportunities like summer schools, spring schools, or internships in like institutes, scientific institutes. Now we rarely know about this, but since I traveled outside Nigeria for my postgraduate studies, I found that there are actually usually opportunities like this, for example, and they're usually funded. You can usually get funding for these opportunities, but you might not hear about them if you're not on the lookout for them. So try to be on the lookout for institute or organizations that organize workshops or summer schools in your field of interest and try to apply to them and also apply for funding. It's very, like, there are actually a lot of these opportunities, maybe not so much, but much more than you think. But because you're not on the lookout for them, you may not find them. So try to look out for them. You can just Google summer schools in maybe nonlinear optimization, and then you can put a specific country to be more specific. So you can say summer schools in stochastics in Germany or in USA, etc., or whatever your field is. Try to be on the lookout for this. There are also internships where you can go to a scientific institute for a few months, work with a professor, do some research. All of these things add to your experience, and it's always a nice experience to have because you are exposed to other scientific environments apart from the one that you've been used to, and it's good for your CV. And my final tip is to try to organize small outreach programs in your community if possible. It doesn't have to be something big or something that will cost you much. If possible, you might even be able to get your university to fund it if you prove that it's actually something that is beneficial to them and their image and good for the community. An example I have in mind is that organizing a program for high school students in your area to tell them about your chosen field of study. For example, you can go to the science class of a senior secondary school in Nigeria if you live in Nigeria, and you can arrange for an opportunity to talk with them, maybe the final year students in the secondary school. Tell them about what studying mathematics is like, what it is like to gain admission into university to study mathematics. Do you just calculate or do you prove theorems? Is it just about knowing numbers? What are the things that you need to do to prepare for this kind of life? Etc. Just something to show that you're able to talk. You're not only able to work, but also able to talk about the work you do, because it's very important, especially in the scientific community. We not only want to be able to do science, to be able to do research. It's also very important, especially to the institute that employs you, that you're able to talk about what you do, because that's how they get funding. Because if you're just working and unable to communicate, nobody's able to know what you're doing. But when you show that you actually have the skills for communicating about your work, it makes people more interested in employing you, I think. So try to organize these things. You can also it could also be for penultimate year students in your university, for example. You could tell them about writing a thesis. Try to give them a short workshop on writing a thesis, how best to prepare, how to pick a supervisor, how to writing scientifically if you're in the sciences or whatever field it is that you're in. Just tell them about these things. Like, just talk about what you do. Just find an opportunity to talk to a group of people about what it is that you do. It's very nice. It's also good for you because it helps to build that skill. Because as you go further, you not only want to work, you also want to be able to tell people about what work it is that you are doing and to be able to do it effectively. And doing this from now helps you to build that skill. In summary, I've shared 6 tips. The first is to try as much as possible to have very good grades in your undergraduate program. The second is to try as much as possible to have an excellently written thesis, if possible published in a reputable journal or in any journal at all. But just try to make sure that you do a good research work. Number 3 is to try to maintain a good relationship with your professors or lecturers while you're an undergraduate student and even afterwards. Number 4 is to try to participate in research projects in your department or faculty, or any personal research project that a professor in your department is involved in. Number 5 is I don't remember number 5. Let me check. Okay, number 5 is to look out for opportunities like workshop opportunities, summer schools or spring schools, etc. There are actually a lot of these kinds of programs. You also have internships. Look out for these opportunities, apply to them, and apply for funding to attend them. They're usually available. And finally, my final tip was to try to organize small outreach programs, at least one or as much as you can, to talk about your work and to also help people who are interested in what you do, to create awareness about the work you do, about your field of study, about something you have done, for example, about thesis writing, etc. So these are the 6 tips I have to share with you. I hope you find them helpful, and I wish you all the best in your endeavors, in your applications. Thank you for watching. See you.